All right, so we're diving into BLUM today.
Bloom.
Yeah, BLUM.
Okay.
You sent me a pretty hefty stack of info on them.
Yeah.
Articles, blog posts, even some like chatter on social media. So seems like they're generating some buzz.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm intrigued,
They are.
especially by this hybrid exchange concept, combining centralized and decentralized. That's eye-catching, to say the least.
Definitely a clever strategy.
What's your take?
You know, a lot of folks in crypto are looking for that perfect balance. They
Yeah.
want the security and control of a decentralized exchange,
Right.
but they also want that speed and ease of use that we're used to from the more traditional platforms.
Yeah.
BLUM seems to be betting that they can bridge that gap.
So they're trying to appeal to both sides then.
Yeah.
The hardcore DeFi folks
Mm-hmm.
and those who might be a little hesitant to jump into the deep end of decentralization.
Exactly. Like they're saying, hey,
Okay.
you can have your cake and eat it too.
I like cake,
You get to hold your own keys. Right.
but you don't have to sacrifice a good user experience.
Sounds like a win-win.
Right.
Yeah.
But the question is, can they pull it off?
That is the question.
Yeah.
They're calling it an off-chain order book with on-chain settlement. I'm not going to lie, that sounds like tech jargon to me.
It does a little bit.
Break it down.
Okay, so think of it this way.
All right.
Imagine you place a buy order, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just zips off chain.
Okay.
Super fast matching.
I like speed.
But then the moment your order is filled,
Yeah.
bam, the blockchain kicks in,
Okay.
guaranteeing that transfer of ownership is secure and transparent.
So it's like a super efficient system,
Right.
but with like a built-in security guard.
You got it.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Good.
So I'm placing my order off-chain for speed, but the settlement itself is happening on-chain for the security.
Exactly.
That's pretty slick.
I know. It's pretty cool.
But what could go wrong?
The million-dollar question.
Are there any downsides we should be aware of? Of course, nothing is perfect,
No.
right? One thing that jumps out is security.
Okay.
The blockchain settlement, that part is pretty bulletproof,
Yeah.
but that off-chain order book, well, that could potentially be vulnerable.
I see.
If someone figures out how to manipulate that,
Yeah.
they could really disrupt trading,
Or worse.
potentially.
And let's not forget about the regulators.
Oh, right.
This crypto world, I mean, it's still the Wild West out there.
Absolutely.
The rules are constantly changing.
Hmm.
It's a tough landscape to navigate.
For sure, especially with this hybrid model.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a tightrope walk, trying to stay compliant with all that.
And speaking of risks,
Yeah.
remember that BLUM is both a platform and a cryptocurrency.
That's true. We got to unpack that BLUM coin side of things, too.
Oh, right. There were those price predictions floating around.
Oh, yeah, I saw those.
Some pretty optimistic forecasts, I got to say, especially in those Binance Square articles.
Yeah.
Should we be taking those seriously?
Well, it's easy to get caught up in the hype,
True.
especially when you see numbers like a potential wiry 55-cent long-term price.
Right.
But we have to remember, they're just predictions.
Yeah.
Crypto is notoriously volatile.
I've learned that the hard way.
It can swing wildly.
So don't bet the farm just yet.
No, not yet.
But it is interesting to see all the excitement they're generating even before the launch.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of which, we know the launch date, October 15th, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
What else can you tell me about their plans? They're not just launching a coin and calling it a day, are they?
Oh, not even close.
Okay, good.
BLUM's got this ambitious roadmap.
Mhm.
They're already seeing some massive success with their BLUM bot.
Yeah, 34 million users.
That's huge.
That's a lot of users.
But they're not resting on their laurels. They're
That's cool.
talking about these tribes.
Trigs.
Yeah, and a meme pad for creating tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Full product launch later this year.
Wow, it's a lot to take in.
It is a lot going on.
Hold on, did you say faster farming points within these tribes?
I did, yeah.
Now you've got my attention.
Uh-huh.
Tell me more about these tribes, how they fit into this ecosystem.
So it seems like tribes are all about fostering a sense of community.
Okay.
You can imagine groups of users coming together,
Yeah?
sharing insights, collaborating, and potentially earning rewards.
Interesting.
Classic strategy.
Build a strong community and the users will follow.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
It's like a network effect.
Right, the more people join,
Yeah,
the more valuable it all becomes.
exactly.
But how does it all work?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
It seems like these points are all tied into their reward system. You
Mhm.
earn points by participating,
Okay.
trading on the platform.
Yeah.
Who knows what else?
So they're gamifying the experience.
It's like it, yeah.
Making it fun and rewarding. I like where this is going.
It's smart.
But we've only just scratched the surface here. Let's dig into some of these upcoming features.
Okay.
Like this Mimi Pad thing you mentioned.
Yes. Mimi Pad.
What's that all about?
Well, imagine having the power to create your own token
Oh,
without needing to be a coding wizard.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Right. That's what Mimi Pad is promising. It's like a mini ICO launchpad right within the BLUM ecosystem.
Wow, they're really going all in on this community-driven approach.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
What do you see?
It's not just an exchange.
It's more than that.
It's a whole universe.
A BLUmiverse, you could say.
But let's be realistic here.
Okay.
There are some big challenges ahead.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like what?
Well, for starters, the crypto market.
Oh, right.
As predictable as a roller coaster.
Tell me about it.
1 minute you're up, the next you're down.
I've been there.
BLUM's success, at least in the short term,
Yeah,
depends a lot on how they navigate those market swings.
that's a good point. Even with the best tech, the strongest community, you can't control the market.
It's a beast of its own.
What else should we be watching out for?
Well, regulatory compliance is huge.
Right.
They've already said they won't serve U.S. customers, which tells you something about the complexities they're facing.
Yeah.
Even outside the U.S., the regulations are constantly evolving.
It's like they're trying to build a plane while it's already in the air.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they've got the market to contend with, the regulators breathing down their necks.
Yeah.
What other challenges?
Well, all this cool tech and community building won't mean much.
If people aren't using it.
Exactly. They need to attract users, build trust,
Yeah.
prove that their hybrid model is more than just a clever idea.
That makes sense. They got to walk the walk.
You do.
It's not just talk the talk.
And it seems like they're aware of that. They're really
Yeah.
leaning into this community building.
I've been seeing their hashtags all over social media.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag BLYeah, hashtag Blum Crypto, hashtag Where Else Satoshi.
Catchy.
They're not shy about getting the word out.
It's a smart move.
Especially in the crypto world, buzz can be everything.
Absolutely. And it's not just about hashtags either.
Oh, right, the Telegram thing.
Yeah, they've got that Telegram mini app with a point-based reward system.
Yeah, it's clever.
Super clever, gamifying the experience, incentivizing users.
Yeah, I was checking it out.
Yeah.
It's almost like a loyalty program, but for crypto.
I like that, crypto loyalty.
You earn points for trading, participating in the community.
It's a fun way to keep people engaged.
Yeah, definitely.
But where does it all lead?
That's the million-dollar question.
The long-term vision, what is it?
Well, they've got this roadmap. They're building a community. They're generating buzz.
Yeah.
But will it all translate?
That remains to be seen. It's still early days.
A sustainable, successful platform, that's the goal.
Absolutely. That's what we all want to see.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
The hybrid exchange model, the BLUM coin, the roadmap, the community building. It's a lot to process.
It is.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I think it's time to zoom out a bit.
Okay,
Look at the bigger picture.
I like it.
How does BLUM fit into the broader trends shaping the crypto world?
Because let's face it, the landscape is changing faster than ever.
It is. It's constantly evolving.
We've come a long way from the days when Bitcoin was the only game in town.
Oh, yeah. Those were simpler times.
So how does BLUM fit into this evolving crypto universe?
Well, that's what we need to unpack next.
All right, lead the way.
Because understanding that broader context,
Yeah.
it'll give us a much better sense of where BLUM might be headed.
Let's do it.
You know what strikes me about BLUM? It's how they're positioning themselves. Right at the intersection of traditional finance
Right.
and DeFi.
That's interesting. Tell me more about what you mean.
Well, on the one hand, you have the old guard, the big banks,
Yeah.
the established institutions, the regulators. They're all about centralization, you know?
The tradition, the way things have always been done.
Exactly.
But then you have this whole DeFi movement exploding.
Oh, yeah.
Decentralized finance, cutting out the middleman,
Cutting them.
putting the power back in the hands of the people.
Exactly. And BLUM seems to be saying, hey,
Yeah.
what if we could take the best of both worlds?
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Combine the security and transparency of blockchain
Right.
with some of those familiar features
Yeah.
and user-friendliness.
Make it easy to use.
Exactly. Easy to use, like we see in traditional finance.
So they're kind of like the diplomats of the crypto world,
Ooh.
building bridges between these two seemingly opposing forces.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
It's a risky strategy, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely risky.
But if they can pull it off,
If they can pull it off.
they could be onto something really big.
Huge potential.
Because let's face it,
Yeah.
some of those DeFi interfaces
Oh, I know.
can be pretty intimidating for the average person.
It's a steep learning curve for some people.
BLUM seems to be taking a more approachable route,
Much more approachable.
which could be key for mass adoption.
Oh, absolutely key for bringing in the masses.
It's like they're trying to demystify crypto, make it more accessible
Mm-hmm.
to a wider audience.
Yeah, and that Telegram mini app is a perfect example.
Right.
Meeting people where they already are.
Yeah.
Making it easy and fun to engage with the platform.
And speaking of mass adoption,
Yeah.
they're not just focusing on one little corner of the market.
Nope.
They're aiming for global expansion,
Global domination.
especially in Asia.
Asia's a hotbed for crypto.
Remember that article about the VASP license in Georgia?
Oh, yeah. That was big news.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is. It basically means they're playing by the rules.
Showing they're serious.
Serious about compliance, about security.
And Georgia's become a real hub for crypto innovation, right?
It has. So it's a strategic move, for sure.
So they're thinking long-term,
Definitely.
laying the groundwork for growth
Yeah.
in markets where crypto is really taking off.
Smart move.
It is interesting, though,
What is?
that they're steering clear of the U.S. for now.
Yeah, the U.S. is a whole other beast.
It seems like they're taking a wait-and-see approach.
Yeah, I think that's wise, given the regulatory situation over there.
The regulations there are a nightmare. Who can blame them?
Exactly. It's a minefield.
But, if they can build a successful track record elsewhere,
Prove the model works.
yeah, prove that the hybrid model works,
Then maybe, who knows, they'll dip their toes in the U.S. waters.
makes sense to focus on markets where the regulatory landscape is a bit more friendly.
For sure.
But let's get back to this idea of BLEM bridging the gap
Okay.
between traditional finance and DeFi.
Yeah.
Are they the only ones trying to do this? Or is this like a larger trend?
It's definitely a trend. We're seeing more and more projects.
Really?
Yeah, popping up all the time, trying to find that sweet spot.
That balance.
Yeah, the balance between decentralization and accessibility.
So BLEM is kind of the forefront of this emerging trend. It's like the next evolution of crypto.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's like the industry's maturing, realizing that maybe it's not all about being 100% decentralized.
Right. It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Exactly. Sometimes a little bit of centralization
Yeah.
can actually make things smoother, more efficient.
Right. It's not about sacrificing security and transparency.
No, not at all.
It's about finding that balance
Finding that sweet spot.
where you can have both.
Exactly.
And BLEM seems to be betting big on that idea.
They are, and they've got some serious backing, too.
Oh, right. Binance Labs.
Don't forget, they're part of the Binance Labs Accelerator program.
That's huge.
It is. Binance is a titan in this space.
Getting their stamp of approval.
It's like winning the lottery.
It's not just about the money either.
No, it's about the mentorship, the connections, the credibility.
The credibility that comes with a name like Binance.
Exactly. It opens doors.
So they've got the vision, they've got the tech,
The tech,
they've got the backing.
the backing.
But as with any crypto project,
there are risks.
what are the potential downsides?
Well, security is always a concern.
Of course, especially when you're dealing with people's money.
Exactly. And with this hybrid model,
Yeah,
BLUM has to be extra vigilant.
because they're essentially combining the vulnerabilities of both. So,
Precisely. They need to have those security measures in place
Yeah.
to protect user funds
on both sides.
on the blockchain side
Hmm.
and on that off-chain order book.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility.
It is a lot of responsibility.
And then there's the whole regulatory uncertainty
Oh, yeah, that's the big one.
hanging over their heads.
Looming large.
Even if they're compliant today, who knows what tomorrow brings?
The regulations are constantly changing.
It's like trying to hit a moving target.
It really is.
It's not just about compliance either.
No, it's not.
They have to be prepared for crackdowns
Mm-hmm.
or even bans in certain countries.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
a real threat.
We've seen it before. Governments getting spooked by crypto.
They do. They get spooked.
It could happen again.
Definitely a possibility.
So BLUM is walking a tightrope.
They are. It's a balancing act.
They need to innovate,
Push boundaries.
but also stay on the right side of the law.
It's a tough line to walk.
Okay, so we've talked about BLUM's specific challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but let's zoom out a bit.
Okay, zoom out.
What's happening in the wider crypto landscape?
Well,
What are the big trends that could impact their future?
That's a great question.
It is. It is.
And I think one of the most significant trends we're seeing
Yeah.
is the growing institutional interest in crypto.
Oh, yeah. I've been hearing a lot about that.
It's a big deal.
It's not just the tech geeks and the early adopters anymore, right?
No, not anymore.
Big money is starting to take notice.
Big money is moving in.
So BLUM is launching
Yeah.
into a market that's becoming increasingly competitive.
For sure.
They're not just competing with other startups.
Nope, not anymore.
They're going up against some of the biggest players in finance.
It's a whole new ballgame.
David versus Goliath.
David versus Goliath, exactly.
But that's what makes it so exciting.
I love it.
If BLUM can play their cards right, they have the potential to disrupt the traditional financial system
Disrupt the whole system.
in a major way.
Major disruption.
It's like the Wild West of finance out there.
It is. It's a wild ride.
Risky, unpredictable,
Unpredictable.
but also full of opportunity.
Full of opportunity.
And,
Yeah.
regardless of what happens with BLUM specifically, I think their approach
Their approach.
highlights a key trend
What's that?
that we're going to see more of in the future.
Oh, yeah. What trend?
This convergence
Divergence.
of centralized and decentralized solutions.
Bringing those two worlds together.
Exactly. It's not about choosing one or the other.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance.
The best of both worlds.
Leveraging the strengths of both.
Exactly.
To create a more efficient, transparent,
Accessible.
financial
It's
system.
a goal.
Which at the end of the day
Yeah.
is what blockchain technology is all about, right?
That's the heart of it.
Empowering individuals,
Empowering the people.
democratizing access to financial tools,
Leveling the playing field.
creating more equitable financial system.
That's what it's all about.
But hey, we're running a bit short on time here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's shift gears for a second
All right. Shifting gears.
and talk about what this all means
Okay.
for our listener.
Yeah, our listener.
They've been diligently following along with all this BLUM info.
Taking notes.
Now what? It's funny, we're talking about all this, it's making me think about how much crypto has changed,
Oh, yeah.
even just in the last few years.
For sure.
Remember when Bitcoin was the only game in town?
I know, right? It feels like ancient history.
It does.
Back then,
Yeah.
you could wrap your head around the whole crypto landscape in an afternoon.
Right. Now,
It's a whole different ballgame.
it is a whole different ballgame.
Thousands of cryptocurrencies,
So many.
each with its own unique technology and purpose.
I know. It's mind-boggling.
It is. It can be overwhelming.
I feel like I'm constantly playing catch-up.
I hear you.
Any tips for our listeners who might be feeling a little overwhelmed?
Well, my advice is to focus on the fundamentals.
Okay, fundamentals.
When you're evaluating a new project, ask yourself,
Yeah,
what problem is this project trying to solve?
good question.
Does it make sense?
Right, does it make sense?
Is the technology sound?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the people behind it?
Right, who's running the show?
And just as important, what's the community saying?
Yeah, the community vibe is important.
Are people excited about it?
Those are great questions to ask.
Keep it simple.
And based on what we've seen, BLUM seems to have some pretty solid answers, right?
Yeah, they seem to be checking those boxes.
They've got a clear vision, a strong team, a growing community.
So far, so good.
But, as you said earlier, it all comes down to execution.
It always does. Execution is key.
They can have the best ideas in the world,
Yeah.
but if they can't deliver,
It's all for nothing.
exactly.
So we'll be watching closely.
What should we be watching for?
How they handle that full product launch,
Okay,
how they implement those features.
a Mimi pad, the tribes,
Mimi pad, tribes, the whole shebang.
and of course how they navigate all those regulatory hurdles.
Oh, yeah, that's the big one.
Speaking of those upcoming features,
Yeah.
remember that line from their blog?
Which one?
Something like, we might have even more surprises in store for you, but we're keeping those under wraps for now.
Ooh, a little teaser.
They're playing the mystery game, keeping us guessing.
Definitely building the hype.
It's a smart strategy,
It is, even if the surprises aren't that big.
right?
Just hinting at more to come, it shows they're thinking long term.
I agree. It's a good sign.
It is.
They're in it for the long haul.
Not just a quick cash grab.
Exactly. And that's something you definitely want to see.
Absolutely.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what are your final thoughts? What should our listeners be watching for? Give us the key takeaways.
All right. Well, I think the next few months are going to be crucial for BLUM.
Okay, crucial months ahead.
Will they deliver?
Yeah. Will they deliver on all those promises?
Will those new features live up to the hype? Will they be able to attract enough users?
build that thriving community?
And, of course, how will they handle those regulations?
So many questions.
Big questions.
And of course, we'll all be watching that BLUM coin price.
Of course, that's the bottom line for a lot of people.
Will those price predictions pan out?
Will they? Who knows?
Or will the market just throw us a curveball?
It's crypto. Anything could happen.
It's a nail-biter.
Always a nail-biter.
You know what?
Yeah.
Whether BLUM ends up being the next Bitcoin or fades into obscurity, I think their story tells us something important
Oh, yeah. What's that?
about the future of finance.
Okay, I'm listening.
This idea of blending centralized and decentralized.
Ah, that hybrid approach.
It's not going away.
It's here to stay.
We're seeing it everywhere.
All over the crypto space.
It's not about choosing sides.
Right.
It's about finding that right mix
The right balance.
to create a more efficient, transparent, and accessible system.
That's the goal.
And that's what blockchain tech is all about, right?
At its core, yeah.
Empowering individuals,
Giving people more control.
creating a more equitable financial world.
That's the dream.
Well said.
Thanks.
And that's what we try to do here at the Deep Dive.
That's right. Explore the frontiers.
Unpack these complex ideas.
Make it all make sense.
Help you, our listener, make sense of it all.
It's a wild world out there.
It is.
But we're here to guide you.
So if you're intrigued by BLUM,
Do your own research.
follow their journey, see where it leads.
Maybe even join their community.
And hey, if you do,
Let us know.
we'd love to hear your thoughts.
We would.
Until next time,
Stay curious.
keep diving deep.